Hi everyone, Matt Bernier, Mike Beer, taking a look at Breeders' Cup Focus, the Breeders' Cup Mile Division at a potential field anyway of horses that may be coming from all over the globe. And DRF National Handicapper Mike Watchmaker has put a morning line on a potential field. He has Ribchester coming over from Europe as the 2-1 morning line favorite. Churchill for Aidan O'Brien, 4-1, and then you get to our first domestic hope here anyway. World Approval on the heels of that giant win in the Woodbine Mile, which we'll touch on in a little bit later on. And you can see the rest of the field right down in order as far as the morning line odds are concerned. We know, well documented, that the European turf horses are just generally better and classier than our horses are here.
Right.
But it seems like, and it feels like, this year may be a little bit different, not because the quality coming over isn't good, but we've got a couple of pretty decent ones, most notably World Approval.
Yeah, World Approval feels like, especially in the form that he's in right now, he can give these European horses all they want. But it feels like they finally decided you got to go shorter with him. They tried to make him a longer distance turf horse last year. They did get a grade 1 out of it, but he's not as good going longer. They've turned him back this year, and it's just been one top performance after another, and that goes right through the Woodbine Mile last weekend where he was just dominant right on the lead.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at the Woodbine Mile right now. You're going to see the big gray on the front end right now underneath Johnny V. The beautiful thing about this horse, if you give him the lead, he'll take it.
Yeah.
If someone else wants to go, he can sit just off that tactical speed. That's a game changer.
Yeah, it really is. It just offers him so many options. The Woodbine Mile, whether it was the plan or not to go to the front, I mean, he broke from the rail in that race. He broke really sharply from the gate. So Johnny V just let him go on with it. You can just see him power away from that field in the stretch. I mean, that was a really strong performance, but you're right. I mean, if he for some reason gets a different post position or doesn't break as sharply from the gate, it's no problem for him to sit off other horses and still finish like that. He's been awful good in his last 2 or 3 starts.
I think that's the other thing that's very encouraging about World Approval is that, we see some of these horses with tactical speed, but they don't have that big late kick, and we know that's what the Europeans are known for. He has a really big late kick, and he can do that even when he's out there on the lead. So World Approval, you've got to view him on the heels of back-to-back Grade 1 victories. Bog, firm, 1 turn, 2 turns, doesn't matter. He's just in career form right now from Mark and Norm Cassie. Another horse that we have here in the States anyway that's got big speed, and that could be a very, very dangerous thing come Del Mar time anyway, is Heart to Heart. Now, Heart to Heart, we have talked about it, and it's been well documented. He may not be the hardiest horse you've ever seen. He may not want to get into a fight, but if you let him get to the front as he was allowed to do in the Bernard Baruch most recently, he will make you pay.
Yeah, he really will. He's a really, really nice horse. Whether or not he's, sort of a cut below the top turf milers, I guess that's open to debate. He still has something to prove, I guess, at the grade 1 level, but make no mistake about it, he's a really nice horse, and if you give him any early advantage, he will try and take advantage of it. He was way the best in this race with a loose lead. I guess the question is when he gets out to Del Mar, what kind of other speed shows up? I know that there are some, speedy turf horses out in Southern California. I don't know what kind of form they're in right now. I don't know whether they'll show up in the Breeders' Cup. And if they don't, advantage to Heart to Heart.
And that's the very interesting thing. Again, we were a number of weeks out. We still have about 5 or 6 weeks before the Breeders' Cup. So this prospective field can change drastically before we get there. Let's take a look at that field again if we could. But the thing is, if this is the kind of field anyway that goes, I mean, you're looking at Heart to Heart out there on the lead all by himself at what could be a 10 or 15 to 1 price, and you know when you give him an inch, he can take a mile.
Yeah, he's just a really good horse. He's been a good horse for a long time, and it's just a question of whether you think he can get the right trip and then hold on against some really, really tough closing horses.
Among the names that we have listed on there, there's one that I found fascinating, and that's Time Test. Time Test, Mike Watchmaker, the national handicapper for the Racing Form, pegged him as a 12-1 morning line sort of shot for Chad Brown. He's been polarizing since he's arrived here for Chad, simply because everyone thought he was the second coming of Flincher, but the problem is he's not Flincher. We know that pretty clearly. I mean, are you completely off him at this point now?
Yeah. Why would you like him? I mean, what is there to like about this horse? Maybe they went shorter with him last time. Now they're going to go, I guess, even shorter to a flat mile. If you think that's going to help him, God bless you. Go bet him. He is not a good horse.
I suppose the only thing, if you're trying to make a case, and I'm with you, I've never really liked the horse. We talked about it, well documented going into the Manhattan. We didn't like him, but I suppose if you are still holding out hope, you can say that most recent run up at Saratoga, that was over a complete bog, and he can't stand up on that. He wants it to be firmer than firm, and you're going to get firmer than firm out at Del Mar.
He's gotten firm over here.
He still hasn't gotten.
I think he got firm in the Manhattan, I believe. That was some performance.
Wasn't good enough for him. We'll find out. It looks like it could be a very, very fun race, the Breeders' Cup Mile, whether you've got quality Europeans coming over here or you've got some really quality milers that we've got here domestically, whether it's a World Approval or potentially a horse that can get brave on the front end, like Heart to Heart, the Breeders' Cup Mile. It's always a good race.